Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk, and welcome to the conference championship weekend for college football. That's right, we're here to the nitty gritty, the last stage for a handful of teams to make impressive showings for the college football playoff committee to try to get in. There's a few if they win, they're in no matter what. But what happens in chaos ensues? What about the other conference championships? We'll dive in all that here in just a minute. First, a quick synopsis. Last week I won 11-2, especially if you didn't watch my video I posted a couple days ago. I did extremely well. Predicted a lot of the scenarios that played out. Did an extra 13 games because of a lot of conference implications. By the time I went to the Kansas State-Iowa State game, that game was moot by that time frame. But quite happy with how that one turned out. So we'll look at the upcoming schedule and got some doozies as it goes over 2 days. And Sunday we'll see who will be in the Final Four for college football. And we'll part of the video shortly thereafter, either agreeing or disagreeing with that action. And let's kick things off for Friday night. And we'll start off in Lynchburg, Virginia for the Conference USA Championship between the 24th ranked Liberty Flames, who are undefeated, taking on the 10-win New Mexico State Aggies. That's right, New Mexico State has 10 wins. Hell must have frozen over. It must have, because CM Punk's returned to WWE. And he said the only way he'll go back if hell froze over. That means Armageddon's coming. Or pigs are flying. I mean, it's a worse scenario. But anyways. And these two faced off earlier in the season. Liberty was just way too much for New Mexico State then. By that time frame, New Mexico State went on an undefeated streak. Looking over here at my other screen. Their last 3 games are, I think, the highlights of their season. They beat Western Kentucky. They went into Auburn and beat the Auburn Tigers in their own stadium. That gives you a lot of momentum. And then they beat a now bowl-eligible Jacksonville State. Liberty, on the other hand, doesn't have quite as many. I mean, they do have the win early against New Mexico State. Who knew at that time frame it was going to be that important for their season? They also have the win over Jacksonville State, and they also have a win over Western Kentucky. So, will Liberty repeat the performance against New Mexico State? Right now, they're favored by 11.5. And really focused on the running back Cooley. If he can continue the dominance, right now he has over 1,250 yards rushing with 13 touchdowns. He is a focal point for that Flames offense. But Pavia and the Aggies, he's got some impressive numbers himself. Over 2,700 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, and only 8 picks. That's a pretty good showing. I mean, it's almost now I'm trying to do quick math in my head, and I'm totally stumbling here. I'm like, but almost a 3-1. 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. That's a pretty good. I think anyone will take that when it comes with the quarterbacks. And Mexico State right now has the momentum in their corner, but for some reason Liberty's favored by 11.5. You think the team that went into Auburn and won a game they were not favored at all, double-digit underdogs, and they beat Auburn. They beat Jacksonville State. They beat Western Kentucky. The big 3 opponents they had. You think they're afraid of Liberty? They are not the same team that took on Liberty early in the season. This is going to be a lot closer. A lot closer. So, if I was a betting man, I would take New Mexico State for the points. However, I'm still going Liberty. I think Liberty is going to be a little too much for New Mexico State to handle. The bell to weather the storm of the Aggies, but find ways to kind of execute. Plus, playing at home, they have that home field advantage. That gives them a little extra boost. We all know New Mexico State doesn't care about that either. I wouldn't be surprised if this went overtime and Liberty won by 3. I think this is how close this game is going to be, and this is going to be a fun kickoff for the weekend. Then we head to Las Vegas for the Pac-12 championship between number 5 Oregon and number 3 Washington. This one could spell doom for the Pac. There are a lot of things going on out there that could play out because Washington be number 3. They have to win to stay in. If they win, they're in the playoffs. But if Oregon wins, does Oregon automatically jump? No, Oregon's going to need some help. So I think Texas would probably be a better suitor than Oregon. Alabama could be better than Oregon. But I get that having Oregon in there over Texas, I get that. Because I think Oregon's probably played a little bit better schedule. But once again, looking over here, some of the key ones Oregon's had, Utah, Oregon State are the 2 biggest ones right now. While Washington now, and then they will beat Washington, an undefeated team. So that'd be 3 quality wins, especially 2 back-to-back with their arch rival Oregon State and arch rival Washington. But would that be enough for them to leapfrog into the top 4? Hard to say. I think it's really a battle between the 2. I think is the 2 Heisman finalists is Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. These 2 fought. Oregon had a chance to tie it and missed. And that's how close this game was last time. Oregon's been on tear ever since, and Washington's never looked back. When these 2 square off, I expect a lot of fireworks once again. And for some reason right now, Oregon's favored by 9.5. Now, no, Washington has not played pretty at all, and I understand that. But they win. They win with a defense that locks down at the right time and the offense that clicks at the right time. Those are 2 factors you need to have a successful team in any type of postseason play. But I think Oregon is going to look what didn't work against Washington the first time and go about this with a different attitude. Once again, if I was a betting man, I'll take Washington for the points. I, too, am going to embrace the chaos. I'm taking Oregon to win in Vegas over Washington. It'll definitely be less than 9. It'll be a game-winning field goal. It's going to be like last time they fought, but this time Oregon uses the field goal to win the game. And then Saturday, we're going to cart off a kickoff in Arlington for the Big 12 championship between outgoing Big 12 member Texas and number 18 Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State goes in there because they beat Oklahoma, so you don't have Oklahoma-Texas rematch. Oklahoma State and Texas did not face off during the regular season. So this is going to be their first time facing off. And last time these 2 went at it, Oklahoma State won. Of course, Texas wasn't quite the program they're on right now. So I'm scrolling through up here on my other board. Some Oklahoma State's best games, of course, the Oklahoma game, West Virginia, Kansas, and K-State. Well, Texas beat Alabama and K-State. In Kansas and Wyoming. Just add a few extra games here and there. Beyond that, most of the games they played towards the tail end of the season, only 3 are bowl eligible. The 6 games they had on there, only 3 are bowl eligible. So not a really good sample to let you know, okay, this is going to be a good team. But Oklahoma State does have stumbling games. You look what they did against BYU. They struggled to come back to win that one. UCF knocked them out. So Texas is going to look at this one and have no problems. Right now, Texas favored by 15.5. I'm going to push back a bit on that one. I'm going to say 14. Because I do think Texas is going to be way too much for them. Texas definitely need this win and a couple other scenarios to play out for them to get into the playoff. But them being number 7 kind of puts them in an awkward position. But with Ohio State right there, they should be able to leapfrog Ohio State, so there should be no issue there because Ohio State's not playing. But I do see Texas winning, throwing another wrinkle in there, and then debate can begin on other issues. Head over to the Motor City at Ford Field as the MAC will have their championship game between the 11-1 Toledo Rockets and the 10-2 Miami Redhawks. These two have faced off previously. This is the game that I thought Miami will take advantage of and could not. So with this scenario, I don't see any difference in terms of how this game's going to go. Looking at their schedules, Miami had to win against Ohio and Bowling Green. Those are big ones. While Toledo has San Jose State and Miami and Bowling Green. And then they should have beaten Illinois. Toledo should be undefeated. To tell the truth. So I definitely give the edge to Toledo in this one. Toledo is right now ranked by 3, favored by 8. Excuse me. Wow. They should put some impressive numbers with that. Fenn should have no issues. Over 2,300 yards passer, 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Boone's going to be another factor in this game. Over 1,300 yards rushing with 15 touchdowns. I think it's just a combo, nice combo with the QB and the running back. Nice bounce attack by the Rockets. They should be able to take advantage of the Miami defense. Can Miami offense find ways to get Laverdane more opportunities to catch the ball? He only has 6 touchdowns. So I think Toledo's going to be enough to handle it. They're favored by 8. I want to push back on this one, but I'm not. I think this will be the Rockets all day long, going to 12-1, being left out of the college football playoff polls because they're a MAC program, but definitely another one that should have a good showing and probably find ways to take on Liberty in the bowl games. That would be a good matchup. Then we head back out to Vegas. That's right. The Mount West Championship this time as UNLV hosts Boise State. If you watched my video a couple days ago, I explained why these two teams are facing off and how much I hated it. Because the Mountain West decided to use the average of 4 computer polls between Boise State, UNLV, and San Jose State because they're all 6-2, and they all didn't face each other. The only two that face each other is Boise State, UNLV. Unfortunately, when you look at the computer polls, they go over overall. And overall, yes, UNLV has a slight advantage. That's because they're a 9-win season compared to Boise's and San Jose's 7-win. But if they would use like the Pac-12 designator they did like last year when they had the divisions and the North Division was all knotted up, and they used the winning percentage, combined winning percentage, pretty much a strength of victory between the ones that were tied because they all beat each other. I think it was like Oregon, Washington, Utah, all beat each other. And kind of find out that Utah had to win against USC, and that was the deciding factor. They put them against USC again. They beat them again. And when I ran those numbers, it was Boise State, then San Jose State, followed by UNLV. So it should have been San Jose State going up to Boise to face them off instead of Boise heading to Vegas. Because San Jose State beat Vegas. I'll get off my soapbox. I am sorry. Game in hand. Mayava has signs of showing brilliance here and there, but he does make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't really have that deep. I mean, he has a deep threat with White as a receiver, who's a 1,300-yard receiver on 75 receptions, but he only has 7 touchdowns, which is half of Mayava's touchdowns. If Boise State can limit the success those two can have and hold off the running Rebels defense, and make Gentry have ways to find ways to exploit those holes, possibly get past the blitzes, because he is over a 1,100-yard rusher, and focus on that. And I think Boise State will have the opportunity to do that. Right now, Boise State's favored by 2.5. I like that as well. I'm going Broncos. Then we head to Mercedes-Benz Stadium out there in Hotlanta for the SEC Championship between the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs and number 8 Alabama Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide goes in there at 11-1. Their only stain on their record is a loss to Texas at home. And Georgia just continues to roll along. Here comes the debate, because Alabama is ranked 8th in the college football playoff. And many are claiming if Alabama beats Georgia, there's no way you leave off Alabama in the college football playoff. But we'll get to those arguments later. Look at the tail of the tape. Georgia's biggest wins so far are Ole Miss, Mizzou, Tennessee, Kentucky. They've been winners, continuing to win. I mean, it was 29 straight wins right now. Unbelievable. For Alabama, their biggest wins: Ole Miss, A&M, Tennessee, LSU, and Kentucky. Pretty much the same resume. But Alabama has found ways to make Milroe irrelevant in that offense. The defense has stepped up. There's a lot of things pointing in the direction of Alabama. Kirby Smart has the ability. He's already beaten Saban once. Can he do it a second time? That is going to be the deciding factor, because Saban doesn't normally lose to coaches multiple times. This is definitely a different Georgia team than it was last year. Beck has proven to be a good replacement for Bennett. Almost 3,500 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, only 6 picks. McClendon is going to be the biggest point for that Tide offense, along with how Milroe can handle things as well. It's going to be a divisive showdown between these two. I think it's whoever can get enough pick sixes. Seems to be a common theme sometimes. And right now, Georgia's favored by 6. I don't know. Because there's so many scenarios floating out there, especially if Alabama wins this game. What's it going to do with the landscape of the playoff? But I'm going to save all that headache, not embrace the chaos. I'm going with Georgia. It's going to be close. I really think it might even come down to a mixed extra point. I think it might even be that close. But it should be a good showing. But they'll definitely show kinks in the armor of the Bulldogs. And we'll see what happens later. But, yeah, Bulldogs. And I'm not certain. We head to Yulman Stadium on the campus of Tulane University as the Green Wave play host to SMU. Tulane's 22nd ranked, 11-1. A win here guarantees more likely that Tulane will make it to a New York Six bowl game in back-to-back seasons. SMU is not going to be an easy out. Both teams finished undefeated in American play since they faced each other. Tulane had that wonderful game against UTSA. Unless you're a Roadrunners fan, then that wasn't a wonderful game. But Tulane was able to find ways to take advantage of opportunities, first turnovers, and that's going to be a key factor in this one. Can Stone limit the abilities, turnover abilities? He almost has 3,200 yards passing with 28 touchdowns and 6 picks. So he knows how to chuck a rock. He knows how to find the open receivers. He knows how to score touchdowns, and he limits his mistakes. But can Hughes, in continuing to make the green wave a tidal wave, because he has over 1,200 yards rushing with 7 touchdowns, he needs to get better yards per carry average because he's just a workhorse for him, but doesn't really constitute touchdowns. He just gets the yardage. Well, we'll see how Tulane handles this one. I think Tulane's defense is going to be the key factor in this one. You should be able to find ways to handle Mizzou right now. Tulane's favored by 3.5. I like that. It's a good average because of what SMU could do. I wouldn't be surprised if SMU wins, but I will also go with Tulane. Then we head down to Troy, Alabama, as the Trojans play host to Appalachian State Mountaineers. Now, in all essence, this game should be in James Madison because James Madison has now been allowed to play in the bowl game because there's not enough teams available. But they're not able to go into the Sun Belt Championship. Oh, well. App State's not an easy out. Aguilar always finds ways to find the end zone. Over 1,300 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, but 9 picks. So he always seems to find ways to get there, to get in the end zone. I mean, 11-3, if you start breaking down the average, whatnot, but it is a tremendous thing. And then for Troy, everything goes through Vidal. Almost 13.5 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. But like Hughes for Tulane needs to work on his yards per carry because he has 254 carries. So he does get a lot of yardage, but he just a constant bruiser and just constant bruising. App State's going to make this close, really close. Extremely close. I won't be surprised if App State was leading at one point in time in this game. Troy's favored by 6. I am pushing back on that one. This is going to be a close contest. App State is just one of these pesky teams always find ways to step up their game when it matters the most. And against opponents they're probably not favored to beat. They're known for that, and they're like one of those teams always seem to find ways to knock off the big boys. I mean, they had that game in the Big House years ago, but that put them on the map. I'm still going with Troy. We're not surprised if it's an overtime victory by 3. I think it's going to be that close. I think Troy's going to struggle to find ways to win or execute their game plan, but I think they'll find ways at the end and make it happen. Then we head up to Indianapolis for the Big Ten Championship between the undefeated second-ranked Michigan Wolverines and the 16th ranked 10-2 Iowa Hawkeyes. Now in the PowerPoint Index, my poll, computer formula, math formula poll, Iowa's ranked a lot higher than 16. Iowa does find ways. I mean, they went ugly. I mean, there's no doubt about that one. It's definitely not a pretty win, any stretch in the means. But they find ways to get the W, and that's half the struggle. But problem is, I mean, the big 3 wins for Iowa is Iowa State, Wisconsin, Northwestern. The only team that they faced that with double-digit wins is Penn State, and they didn't survive that one. So how do they go from there? In Michigan, I mean, you looked at the last 3 games, Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State. I mean, that right there lets you know. In those 3 games, Harbaugh wasn't coaching. He wasn't there on the sidelines of game day. Much like the first 3 games. Michigan's on the mission. McCarthy's on the mission. Corum's on the mission. They are on a mission. Right now, Michigan's favored by 21.5. I'll push it back a point. 20.5. I think Iowa will probably make it challenging in the first quarter. maybe in the first half, but after a while, Michigan will find ways to adjust, make necessary moves to find ways to exploit Iowa. Iowa's offense are not going to generate a lot of points. That's not their style. Their style is to just grind you out, just grind and grind. And it'd be hard to do that against Michigan. It really is. I think Michigan will find a way to have like a 21-10 halftime lead, but then after that, the floodgates are going to open. I see Michigan doing it, Michigan winning, making sure they're in the playoff once again. Then we head to the Bank of America Stadium out there in Charlotte, North Carolina for the ACC Championship, as the undefeated Florida State Seminoles, number 4 in the college football playoff poll, will host number 14, 10-2 Louisville Cardinals. Louisville has a problem. They got manhandled by Kentucky. Manhandled. They got exploited bad. And Florida State's defense is almost on the same, is literally probably the same level, if not better, than Kentucky's. It's Florida State offense that I'm going to have questions with. Because Travis, of course, gone. Their backup did pretty well getting the team back on track against North Alabama. And then they won against lowly Florida. So this is going to be his true test with this offense against Louisville with the Cardinal. We'll see how that one plays out. I think Louisville's going to find ways to. I know I'm going back and forth on how to pronounce this. I think I pronounced like 3 or 4 different ways. So anyone who's from there, I do apologize if I pronounce it wrong. I'm just a dumb yank. Anyhow, the Cardinals going to have to will look to ways to rebound from that embarrassing showing against Kentucky. That's definitely not something that they want to leave as a lasting mark on the resume, especially when they have wins against NC State, Notre Dame, Duke, and Miami. So you have those marks. I mean, Florida State had that great win against LSU. It's a different quarterback. Win against Clemson, different quarterback. Win against Duke, different quarterback. Win against Miami, different quarterback. I think the quarterback play is going to be a huge factor in this one. Which defense can step up and make the correct stops? Which offenses can overcome the defensive struggles? Plummer is going to have a hard time with Florida State. There's no problems with that one. He's almost a 3,000-yard passer. He has 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He will throw picks. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 2 or 3 picks in this game. But can Jordan find ways to be an effective rusher? He knows how to find the end zone. He has 13 of them. But he only has 1,000 yards rushing. Can he find some way to use Jordan to kind of help Plummer do play action and find some open receivers? Maybe get Thrash more the passing ability, more yards. Right now, Florida State favored by 2.5. You know me, I'm all about the chaos. I am taking Louisville in this one to knock off Florida State to win the ACC, ensuring the ACC is out of the playoff picture. Well, those are my picks. Now, going off of my picks, the teams are in Georgia and Michigan. No quarrels there. Then who's 3-4? Well, 3 would be Oregon. And 4 would be Texas. That's right. Ohio State get leapfrogged by both of those. I want to see those 4 go at it. I mean, you could switch Oregon and Texas. That's, just kind of saying tomato or tomato. So I know those 2 will probably be intertwined in either way, but if it goes out the way I predicted it, I think those are the 4 to get in. Now, if Alabama finds ways to beat Georgia, that throws a whole monkey wrench in everything. If Iowa beats Michigan, what do you do then? I mean, like I said, there's so many different layers going in there. I do think Alabama has a chance to beat Georgia, and I think having an SEC champion in the playoff is almost guaranteed. That means Georgia gets knocked out. And I know there's going to be uproar over that one if that happens. The team's been number one for so long, also you take them out because of the last game of the season. It's that type of scenario. Because you look what happened with like TCU, who lost their last game but still made the playoffs. Like I said, I do not envy the committee at all when it comes to this. Because how you determine some of the best teams. If Michigan wins, I think there's no doubt they're in. If they lose, and all the other scenarios play out, they have a high probability of them not making it either. It is one of those weird scenarios that you can have all these one-loss teams all have a legit claim to get in there. But hopefully there's only a few upsets, so it doesn't upset the guy apart too much. Just enough to give you enough conversation pieces, shall we say. 2 cents, those are my picks. Let me know what you think. I'm trying to make this short and sweet, and I end up rambling too much, and that happens. But I kind of pick a few chaos scenarios, but not too many. Not enough to upset the apple cart too much, but enough to kind of make things challenging. That's what we want. Make things challenging. Let me know down below what you think. Once you're down there, go hit that thumbs up, especially like the content provides you. It really pleases YouTube gods. Really help promote this video out. Increases the algorithm, especially with comments and interactions with everyone. Really help everyone look at this chisel face, the flowing hair, and go, why is this guy in front of a camera? I ask myself all the time. Another thing you can do, another thing that really helps me out, it actually costs you absolutely nothing this time of year. It's especially important. You want to save money towards that end of the year because we all know what's happening here in a few weeks. And you want to spend the money elsewhere. Guess what? It costs you $0 to subscribe to this channel. Only thing you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Click that bell icon and turn on notifications. I'll let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And until then, I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.